Hello and welcome to this full moon in Capricorn transmission. These transmissions are invitations to pause, reflect, and become more conscious of the patterns shaping your experience. Rather than telling you what will happen, they offer a perspective on what may be unfolding within you and how you can work with it intentionally. Each transmission is designed to help you cultivate greater awareness, align with your authentic self, and create your life with more clarity, purpose, and presence. I asked what the ruling energy was for this full moon, and I pulled three cards. The end of a tough cycle approaches. As the ruling archetype, we got the Underworld, and as a supporting card, we got the Sri Yantra, which I hope I'm saying that correctly, but this is from the Tantric Hindu tradition. But let's begin with the end of a tough cycle approaches. And what they're saying here is, and it's focused on career, but you can also apply it towards any other goal or area of your life. But it's saying, how hard are you willing to work for what you want? Effort is required during this period. And especially in career, they're saying if you are debating if you should stay or leave a job, then this is your sign to leave. It's asking you how ambitious you're going to be and whether you're prepared to pull out all the stops to make your professional dreams come true without being ruthless. This is about truly dedicating yourself to your dreams. In love, it's asking you to face reality. It's to remove the blind spots, to see what is true and real in your situation. And it's also heavily highlighting to make a plan and follow through with the plan in any situation that you may be experiencing right now. This card also implies that we are currently moving through a tough cycle, and the rest of the transmission actually follows up with that message. Our last transmission, the new moon in Gemini, the main archetype there was the destroyer. So you may be already experiencing certain moments of destruction in your life. And while this moon is helping us transition through that period, and the archetype that is helping us transition through this period is the underworld. It is about suffering, nightmares, pain. It's the darkest shadow realm in which we try to avoid or deny at any cost. In your real life, this can show up as disturbing dreams, unexpected accidents, illness, war, conflict, and even death. Now, here's what is being highlighted, because you may think that there will be more destruction in our lives. But what Spirit is trying to highlight is that by not visiting the underworld or denying its existence, by avoiding this shadow realm at any cost, we're giving it power. Power that we shouldn't be giving away to the underworld. And we should be moving through this underworld. Moving through it forces us to bow humbly to the greater forces that be, while calling the inner strength we previously underestimated. The underworld makes us deeper friends, more intimate partners, soldiers of light amid our shadowy times, and facing darkness and choosing light is the most profound calling of all. Spirit here is highlighting that in order for us to end this tough cycle that we have been living through, in order for us to face the destruction, to come out of the other side, we must visit the underworld. We must go down and visit those darkest places of our own psyche. We must address what needs to be addressed within us. We can no longer avoid the underworld within us if we want a life filled with light at the other end. And so during this time period, you may be forced to address these things. You may experience destruction in your life because they are highlighting that you need to move through it. And here's what Spirit was saying. It was saying, move through the darkness, not get consumed by the darkness. So don't stay in the underworld. Follow the light to the other side. And so if you're doing this process correctly, when this underworld archetype is in balance, you're brave. You have learned to address those things that you have been avoiding. You have learned to combat your fears, and you've gone to the underworld and faced them head on. You've also gained depth from addressing these things. And you're facing your deepest fears, because this is exactly why this destruction has come into our lives. It is because we have been avoiding the fears that we've been putting away and not addressing. And now the universe is saying we must address these fears. And not only must you address these fears, you must face them head on, and you must learn how to walk through these fears in order to realize that you have the inner strength, the power, in order to combat anything and get rid of fear and move into light. And if you're not working with this archetype correctly, then this is what it may look like for you. You may be in denial, completely avoiding all of your fears, completely avoiding the underworld, completely avoiding your suffering, your pain, your problems. You may be suppressing your emotions, suppressing how you feel, suppressing how to express yourself, suppressing addressing the concerns in your life, addressing the problems in your life. You may feel some sort of evil thoughts taking over, dark thoughts taking over your mental space. And unconsciousness. Maybe you're just completely blind to everything that is going on, and you're not paying attention to what is being presented to you. And to end this archetype of the underworld, the universe isn't forcing us to go into the underworld for no reason, just because it wants to bring destruction, suffering, and pain into our lives. It's teaching us a very important lesson, that through pain and suffering, we can come out stronger people on the other side. If we can learn to move through the pain, address our fears, we realize we have a ton of inner strength within us. We realize the true potential that we have. We realize the power that we hold within ourselves, and that these fears, these problems around us are just an illusion. They're an illusion of our mind, and that in reality, we have the capacity to address these things whenever we want to. But we continue to push them away over and over again because we are fearful. And fear is what we have to combat. Fear is what we have to fight. And in order for us to fight that fear, we have to gain the strength that we need, the bravery. And this is why this archetype is showing up, in order to teach us that we have that innate power, we have that innate strength, we have that innate bravery within us. We just have to build it up. And next they highlighted a symbol called the Sri Yantra. I hope I'm saying that correctly, but it's from the Hindu tantric tradition, and it translates to the great object. And it's a call for meditation, a call for protection or a break from the chaos and overstimulation of the outside world. And you may be thinking, well, the last card said not to be avoidant or to not address the problem. And here's what I got the message here. The thing is with the Sri Yantra, It's telling us to protect ourselves and take a break from everything externally. It's calling a return back to self. It's calling for reestablishing our connection to ourself, our spirit, and to spirit itself, to God. It's calling us for more sovereignty within ourselves. We can take on problems outside of ourselves from what is happening in events in the world. We can take up the problems of our family and our friends, and we take on all those opinions surrounding us, and that causes a lot of confusion within ourselves. And so, Spirit is saying it is time for us to establish sovereignty within ourselves and to reconnect with who we are and what we actually believe in order for us to find clarity and to connect with Spirit itself, because that is our true connection that we need to foster. Not necessarily everything outside of us, but we have to focus internally right now to help us navigate this period of time. And Spirit is giving us a tool with this symbol, the Sri Yantra. And so we could actually use this symbol as a mechanism to help find internal peace. So there was this practice, and we breathe deeply as you focus on the simplicity of each triangle. So I would highly suggest you look up this symbol online and do a meditative practice. So the practice is breathe deeply as you focus on the simplicity of each triangle, moving from the largest to smallest, at the center, and then from the smallest to the largest and back into your daily life. So what you're doing is you're focusing on the triangles from the outside in and then from the in out. And that is helping you kind of reconnect with peace, your inner peace, and finding that meditative state where you could be focused on yourself and with Spirit. And this is going to help you foster peace around you. And so, to kind of summarize what this moon is highlighting, we're ending a cycle that we have been living through that has been tough on us. And there may still be moments that are going to be tough, or we're currently living through moments of destruction, we could say. And they're not just happening to us, they're happening for us. And the advice here is that this moon is helping us move through the underworld, through our own shadow, and coming out the other end in order for us to gain bravery, courage, in order for us to combat our fears so that we can come out stronger, a more fulfilled version of ourselves, a more courageous, a more attuned, clear connection to ourselves and to Spirit. And a mantra that was highlighted to attune to this lunar energy was release, I release control and trust the universe. And they were recommending that you say this 2 times a day at least. I release control and trust the universe. In our next segment, I wanted to tap into how we can work with this energy in our mind, in our body, in our soul to bring us with greater alignment. And so the first message for our mind, I pulled one of my animal deck cards, and it was the boar. And the message here is face your problems head on with confidence and courage, and you will emerge victorious. And I thought this was so perfect of a message because that's what they're trying to build in us, right? Confidence and courage. So the message is whatever difficulties you're experiencing now, whether with a relationship, career path, or some other concern, dig in and rummage around until you discover how to solve the problem. Then take immediate action to remedy it. And I think that was highlighted very much so. It was fix the problem and take action, create a plan and take action immediately. Every time you confront adverse situations in this way, you'll be uprooting those elements in your life that appear to be obstacles to fulfilling your purpose. Life can sometimes be very uncooperative with your rational mind's sense of order, and will at times even block your demands or how events or experiences should unfold. If you're living on Earth, you're going to get your feet muddy sometimes, but it's no call for panic, crisis, or drama. Instead, take a couple of deep breaths and view whatever problem you encounter as simply something that needs to be taken care of. As the saying goes, there are really no problems, only creative possibilities. Once you've emerged victorious, which means that you've either conquered your problem or changed your thinking about how you initially perceived the situation, you'll experience a surge of power and confidence. Remember that your power originates from Source, expressed through you as you. When you vanquish the illusion of the situation being a problem, you'll not only feel a greater sense of relief and freedom, but you also open the way for your heart, mind, and soul to be more in alignment with the will of Spirit. When you operate from that perspective, you can overcome anything. And that message in itself completely summarizes the entire transmission here and how to deal with this moon energy and why it's being highlighted and what Spirit wants us to move through. And it was really interesting because as I was deciding which oracle card decks to use, this specific deck was not in my mind to use for asking about the mind and how we can come into alignment. But then I got called to use this specific deck, and that was magical. That was magical how it completely resonates to us addressing our problems and learning how to address our problems and coming out and building power and courage and making sure that we're aligning ourselves back to ourselves and to Spirit. The next question I asked was, how can we work with this energy in our bodies to gain greater alignment during this time? And the card that came out was number 42, Joy. We are created in joy. The balance of energy and higher vibrations brings us closer to divine love, pure joy. Joy can be a destination, but it can also be the vehicle that you use to get to that destination. Faith, grace, gratitude, and love all merge together at different times and in different amounts to create joy. There is love, growth, tears, change, and self-realization in this card. This card portends a happy and joyous time. So Spirit here is asking us to choose joy. We have a conscious ability to choose joy, right? We cannot stay in that underworld state. We have to move through it, and we can move through this underworld, this destruction, by choosing joy. So they're saying choose joy in our emotions. Let the emotions move through you and then choose joy. Remember, emotions are energy in motions. And so what we're being taught is not to sit with our emotions and be drowned, overwhelmed by them, but to feel them, connect to them, and just let them flow out of us. And so they're also saying, choose things that bring you joy. Surrender to joy. So a key positive change in your life is to let joy in and savor it. Indulge in random acts of smiling. During the hard and easy times, keep surrendering to more joy. And this random acts of smiling, it's actually a practice. I recently taking a program, and there's this practice of just smiling, just even forcing a smile onto yourself. And when you do that and kind of focus on certain parts of your body, for example, your organs, you could smile to your heart, smile to your liver, so on and so forth. You actually can feel and generate that energy of joy. And so I would highly recommend you just take 5 minutes, just put on a smile, even if you may not feel it, put on a smile and focus on your heart center, and you will actually start to cultivate that joy and focus on the love that exists in your heart center. Focus on the joy that already exists within you because it's there. You just have to tap into it. You just have to let the other emotions that are not joy drift away, move through you, because the joy is naturally within you already. And to wrap up this transmission, I asked, what can we do within our soul in order to find greater alignment with this lunar cycle? And it was surrender to inner peace. Cultivate inner peace on a daily basis. In quiet meditative moments, focus on the stillness within and enjoy this inner refuge. Others will feel your good vibes too, and your life will flow more easily. The lunar phase, remember, is already helping us find inner peace. And so, what Spirit is saying is for us to really focus on just 5 to 10 minutes of our daily lives in order to truly cultivate this inner peace each and every day, either through using the symbol that they provided for us, the Sri Yantra, or through meditation or anything else that just brings you internal peace. So when you start creating internal peace, the external will also become peaceful for you. And so to wrap up this transmission, this full moon in Capricorn is giving us the opportunity to end this tough cycle that we have been moving through and we may still be currently experiencing. It's teaching us how to go into the underworld and to move through the underworld, to move through our problems, to move through the situations that may be hard on us. And it's teaching us to face our problems head on with confidence and courage. It's also teaching us to discover how to solve our own problems, to change our mindset, to be able to see these situations in our lives not as problems, but as opportunities to find creative solutions for them. And how do we do that? Is by seeing the situation differently, by figuring out what needs to be solved, finding the creative solution, and then taking immediate action to remedy that problem. And every time that we do that, we're given the opportunity to gain more confidence, to gain more power, to gain more courage. And this is rewiring our brains in order for us to let go of fear, to combat fear, to find more fulfillment in our lives. This lunar cycle is also highlighting that we must choose inner peace and joy, that we can only create inner peace and joy when we begin with inner peace and joy within ourselves. We cannot continue to look for peace and joy outside of ourselves. We must learn to create that peace and joy within ourselves so that our external can reflect it back to us. It is truly asking us to dedicate some time to create this inner peace, to create joy in our lives, to truly dedicate that time in order so we can stop searching for it outside of ourselves. This entire process is creating a different version of ourselves, a version that is more in alignment with who we are truly meant to be, with our own sovereignty, with our own authenticity. And that concludes this transmission. I hope you found this information helpful. And if you're seeing this on YouTube, please subscribe, hit the like button. And also, I want to hear how this is showing up in your life. and whether you found this information helpful or not. Much blessings to all, and I will see you in the next